Pittsburgh Steeler fans, welcome back to another episode of Steeler Stat Geek.
Steelers
Scho Bro Show. Woo! Sorry, I just got an alert that we didn't go live to Facebook, and I'm trying to make it work, and it's not. So this is behind.
Yeah, hold on, okay, Dave. We're going to do a restart.
Start over.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1.
Pittsburgh Steeler fans, welcome back to the Scho Bro Show. This is behind the steel curtain editor Dave Schofield coming at you on a Tuesday night. It's after 9 o'clock. I'm trying to get this show live on Facebook. I'm getting errors. I'm so sorry, but we're here. It's fun. Where else would you rather be if you're a Steelers fan? And with me, as always, is my big brother, Rich. Rich, how's it going?
It's going all right there, brother. Minus the fact that you forget you were here with me. So
yeah,
those kinds of things.
I was ready for Stat Geek, man. No.
Yeah. Wow.
That was fun. Good. That was fun.
I was almost as good as you messing up people's names.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But I kind of feel bad that if we're not going to have our Facebook audience here tonight, for some reason, I'm getting an error with that. It's something that I've never seen before.
Hold on, I'm going to see something.
So yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. So right now it's just us here on the YouTube side. I'm still getting an error. It's trying, but it's just popping up with various things. So for those of you that are here on YouTube, we'll try to have a good show. For those of you that aren't able to join us on Facebook Live, I'm really, really sorry. But Rich, it's been a week. Now you've done a show.
I've
done a show.
Yes.
So how's it going? How's everything going tonight?
You know what? It's going okay. The show was great with Jeff the other night. That was fun to do, and really just letting people fire off a bunch of questions that he and I. That was great. A little different than a little different from what we do, but still fun. Saw a lot of folks that were in that live chat the other night that are sitting here tonight. So good to see everybody again. Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's telling you there's something going on the Facebook page that somebody needs to go in and try to do.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's me, because we had a problem with Facebook over the weekend. One of our shows didn't go out there. I went in and had to reauthorize stuff, but I haven't run a show on my computer since that happened. So, but you know what? We're not worried about that, because we're here with those of you that are here with us, and if you're here with us on the audio side, that's fantastic as well. Hey, make sure you're checking. Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to a couple of my regular Facebook regulars that I noticed. So if they happen to come back and pick us up on audio later on, that they'll understand we missed them. So, I want to say, hey, Sherry Richards, if you come back and catch us, thank you. Bert from Maui, if he comes back around and picks us up, thank you, Bert. And just wanted you folks to know that we did not do that on purpose. We're just running into some technical stuff we'll have to work on, but as Ringling Brothers, P.T. Barnum used to say,
the show must go on.
The show must go on. So here we go. Steelers. Here
we go. Yeah. Here we go. Steelers. Here we go. But all right. Well, we're going to kind of talk about a little bit of news, but a little bit of that news is because it goes right into the title of the show. The draft is over. It's time to get to work. And the Steelers have a lot of things that they're doing to get to work. They actually made some roster moves today. I knew they were coming. I knew that the Steelers were at 93 players on their roster once everyone got signed. Now, not all the draftees are signed. Actually, none of the draftees are signed right now. But in order for them they can still participate in minicamp without their contract being signed, but they count towards the 90-man roster. Therefore, before rookie minicamp, which kicks off on Friday, the Steelers had to get down to a 90-man roster. So they did make 3 cuts today. One was a waive/injured of a cornerback. I think it was Isaiah Johnson. I know Tegray Scales was cut. And the other long snapper that the Steelers had on their roster was let go to get down to that 90. So that was just a little piece of business. Another thing, before you really get into the on-field stuff, the Steelers are diving into their second round of interviews for general manager. Rich, what is your overall thoughts on the Steelers general manager search right now?
Hire somebody.
Well, don't you think they should be doing their due diligence with that
They're
job
doing
as
their
well?
due diligence.
I mean,
And then
West
some,
was
and it
there for
doesn't-
20, 23 years.
And honestly, it doesn't matter because Kevin Colbert is there and staying in place until they get someone hired. There's no reason to rush. There's no reason to no reason for panic. If it gets done in the next 6 weeks, they're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they had 2 interviews that were announced last week. 2 this week. One was announced yesterday. One was announced today. There's just a lot of varying things going on. I know I was listening to the fantasy draft fix. I'm sorry. I've got an Amber Alert going off on my phone. I apologize if you could hear that, but there's nothing you can do to turn those off. So that's that. If you heard that buzzing, that was it. That's the 3rd time it's come through tonight. So back to the GM search on the fantasy draft fix. They were talking about it and everything. Is there any names that jump out at you, or is it kind of like the draft where you don't really get into it, don't really care about who the possibilities are? You want to know who's the person, and that way you're getting behind with being the GM.
That's me. So
yeah, that's me as well.
Because again, I don't want to fall in love with anybody they're looking at, only for them not to be here.
Yeah.
I really don't care. I trust the organization. Get the guy that they want to do, that they want and feel can do the best job, and put him in there. I will be fine with it.
Yeah, and I know Wes brought it up because he says Riddick is the name that jumps out at me. You want to know why Riddick is the name that jumps out? Because he's been on TV for a long time. I've said for a while when it comes to Louis Riddick, I think if the Steelers promote Brandon Hunt to GM from their head of scouting, then I would like to see Louis Riddick come into that role. I don't think it sounds like an overly Steelers move to hire a GM that hasn't been in a front office in 10 years. It just doesn't seem like something they would generally do. I mean, if he's the most qualified and go to do the best job, I'm fine with that. But
yeah, if he comes in and knocks your socks off, you go with it. And I think that's what the Steelers are trying to do. Who comes in and makes? Do we get someone that comes in and makes you say, it's got to be that guy?
Yeah,
that's what I want. I want to say, you know what? It's got to be this person. That's who we need.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So, and some people think that that's an indictment on the internal candidates. I don't think it is at all. I think that that really they've got to make sure, because the last thing you want to do is be so comfortable with the people that are in your building that you make the decision and say, oh, should we have looked otherwise? What you ultimately need to do is say, oh, we went and we looked at all these people. To me, I think the more that it comes through, that there's more interviews, I think that's the more likely that it could be internal.
Right.
Simply because they're going through all these other interviews as well, because they just have to make sure that there isn't something that they're overlooking before they would even hire an internal person. Because honestly, I think that's what happened the last time they had a head coach. They hired the head coach. Do you think you kind of see that? Well, it's
this, okay? Mm-hmm. We as fans, honestly, we as fans will be very critical of whoever's there, especially if they do not do a fantastic job. What you can't do as an organization is not, I mean, I feel the Steelers' search for this has been more thorough than what I see most teams do, in terms of they brought in so many different people.
Now, it might be that we're paying attention because it's the Steelers, but I wholeheartedly agree with you when it comes to that.
Right. So my thought is this: if the Steelers go through all these different people, even if the person that comes in, doesn't mean that person is beyond criticism if they do a lousy job, but you can't then look at the front. You could look at the front office and say, oh, maybe somebody duped them a little bit in terms of their interviewing and stuff, something like that. But you can't look at the organization and say, really, you gave us this crummy guy out of that little bit of work that you did? You can't say that because it hasn't just been a little bit of work. It's been serious work they've put in on it. So, even if the guy they get now ends up not being the guy eventually that you like, that really does the job and does things the Steelers way, he will have really had to pull the wool over the organization's eyes because they are looking at so many people.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, the reason I brought this up at the last time they hired a head coach is it seemed like the internal candidate was going to be the guy until someone else blew them away with Mike Tomlin and his interview. So they're almost like doing these things to just to make sure and everything else. And I don't think that it speaks ill about anyone else. I mean, some people feel like that they interviewed 2 people last week. Oh, it must not speak too much to them that they interviewed 2 more people this week. That I don't think that's the case. I think they have a long-term goal and plan with it. And we'll see. We'll sit back and wait. But that's one of the things about the draft is over. Time to get to work. The Steelers are going to get to work with their new general manager. Now, the big thing about them getting to work.
That's the front office. That's the front office folks and the ownership getting to work on that side.
Yes.
See, 2 different ways we're going to work here.
Oh, exactly.
Go.
Well, the Steelers in general are, but we can break it down at different places.
On the administrative side, and then we get into the whole, okay, the coaches get ready to get players in and get to work. There's the front office side that's still needing the work to be completed, but there's also the player side of trying to get in and go to work.
Yeah. And the Steelers have been in phase 1 of OTAs with their players that, they can come in, lift weights on some on-field workouts of that nature, but there's no coaching allowed really. And that's just what they've been doing ever since April 18th. So that's what they've been going through, but they're getting ready to kick into the voluntary OTAs. But that's not ready yet because first it's these draftees, it's the undrafted rookie free agents, it's the other people that got rookie minicamp invites. You will get all these players in for 3-day rookie minicamp starting on Friday, this Friday, May I'm going to mess up the dates. I think it's the 14th is Friday. Yeah. 13th. It's one of those things.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah. What's today? Is today Tuesday? See, that's my problem. That's why I thought it was StatKey because I can't even remember what day we are. So let's get these rookies in here. Now, let me ask you, what do you want to hear out of rookie minicamp? What do you want to hear? Any kind of stories, or do you just want to be like, hey, let the Steelers go in, figure out what they're doing, don't expect many reports, and just kind of let it be? Do you have any kind of expectations of what we should hear over the weekend?
Expectations? No. Here are the kind of things I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear that guys are really working hard. I'd like to see that, like to hear things like, hey, they're really wanting to get down to business. I'd like to hear things out of things like, linemen, linebackers, they're just itching to hit guys, and just, hey, we feel like we really filled in some of the pieces that we needed. It's very general type stuff. I'm not looking to well, I'll take the fact that, we drafted 2 quarterbacks. Things I'd like to hear about the 2 quarterbacks. Hey, they were solid on making their throws. They were staying accurate. They were, those types of things. I don't need to hear that, Kenny Pickett's amazing. He can hit a, 30-yard out piece of cake, or, it's like, I don't need to hear that specific. But I want to hear good in terms of general talk about our rookies, I want to hear good general ideas.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm thinking even like, what do you want to hear about the quarterbacks? I want to hear that they're picking up the system really well. Oh, they're things like that. But they're good. Do you expect to not hear anything? Like, I'm trying to remember. I think Coach Tomlin will maybe answer some questions afterwards. But I really expect just to hear the same thing. Oh, they're out here putting in great work. Oh, I think they're picking up on things much better than we expected, and things of that nature.
If I heard specific things, especially because I'll talk, you got Pickens and Austin and Hayward, technically three guys who are pass catchers.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to hear things like, hey, we saw this guy has a good catch radius, or
Mm-hmm.
or maybe with Austin, you may hear, wow, he was everything we thought he was. He really can, going to be able to blow the top off of defenses or things like that. Again, nothing super specific, but good positive talk. Yeah. Not necessarily just 100. I do want to hear more than just the typical Mike Tomlinisms.
Yes,
I'd like to. Yes, we're going to get some Mike Tomlinisms because that's what he is. But I'd like to hear, like I said, just a few general, still somewhat general, but not Tomlinism things.
Yeah. Exactly. You'd like to hear enough specifics to think that that it's not just him saying the same old thing. So is that a good way to sum it up?
Yeah, probably. I'm not going to be upset with whatever comes out. I'm not. But there's really just that. I know we're not going to get a ton. Even if there's a ton to give, we're not going to get a ton because that's just not Mike Tomlin and the Steelers and how they do things. But I'd hope to hear a little bit. Like, he's not going to come out and say, I'll pick up, Wes was like, hey, I'd like to hear how Austin's doing on routes. Wes, if we hear anything on how Austin's doing on routes, it's going to be very general. Mm-hmm. It's going to be very general. It's not going to be like, oh, hey, already in this 3-day rookie minicamp where, we had Austin out there. We're working on these specific things. He really showed improvement on these specific things. Nope. He'll be like, hey, he came in, he worked really hard on his route running, and we were liking what we were seeing. That's probably what we're going to, to me, that's more than just a Mike Tomlinism. It's a little more than that, but it's not overly specific.
There you go. Hey, I want to thank you so much for talking a little bit through that, because guess what I just did? I just did some technical stuff on the back end, and hopefully we're welcoming in some people from Facebook now.
So we got a like already.
Good. So yeah, so there we go. So sorry that we got started for a while. We had some technical issues with it. It was actually, it was all because I'm the one who set up. I had to authenticate something, and they didn't like it on my end, but we're good to go.
There we go. Now they're rolling in.
Yeah. So all the people that you've already gave shout outs to, now they're jumping in on Facebook.
Starting jumping there. There's Kelvin Colbert. Hi, Kelvin. Glad you made it. Sorry, we're getting you guys in here late.
Yep.
Because of some of those technical difficulties. Hope you get the chance to go back and check out the rest. So
here you go. I'm going to bring up something here because this is a question to the chat that I want to bring up to everything here. Nope, I'm on it.
Okay, you're first.
This is from BF Bud. Said, anyone in the chat going to Latrobe when training camp opens?
Me.
Rich is
I'm going at some point. We don't have a date we're going yet, but myself and Kyle and Coach Jeff Hoffman from over at the college, we're planning to go up.
Yeah.
So
there's a reason why you don't have a date yet.
Because they haven't announced
the date for training camp yet. But when they will, stay here with us at Behind the Steel Curtain, because if Big Bro Scho is going to be up there, we're going to do our best to let you all know. If you all that are here in the live chat are going to be up there, make sure you let us know. I still would like to get up there somehow, but that's a long way away right now until I can figure out what's going on there. But hopefully that answers your question, BF Bud, which wasn't even aimed at us. So
No.
the Steelers have work to do. So that's the rookies. That's them starting. Then by the end of May, you've got the voluntary OTAs. That starts May 24th. There are 10 total sessions in there. Then the following week, June 14th, 15th, and 16th, that's your mandatory mini camp where everyone's got to be there. And then we hit the dark period. We hit the silence after mini camp, before training camp. But there's a lot to get ready for. So you've got the roster coming into shape. To me, I think rookie mini camp is kind of a bigger deal. What I want to hear out of it more than anything is, did the Steelers find someone that they invited for a tryout that then next thing you know, they want to sign them to the 90-man roster? To me, that's the most exciting thing out of rookie minicamp, other than hearing the same kind of things that you're going to hear from the draft picks. But I'd rather have no news, because the last thing I want to hear is, I'm fairly certain it was rookie minicamp when Sanquez Golston went down the first time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was before I was with BTSC. So I'm just trying to remember that. So that's the one thing you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear about any kind of issue going on there. But there's going to be people with the Steelers this weekend, names that we've never heard of. We might not never hear them again because we don't have all the names of all the invites and things of that nature, that they're getting their maybe their only shot ever at the NFL. So to me, that's also a little bit exciting that you have it going on there. So anything else about that topic there, Rich?
What about getting back to work, or just about the mini camps and stuff?
Yeah, the mini camps and getting back to work.
Okay, here's the one thing in terms of getting back to work. There are a couple places I'd still like to talk about going here. Could you talk about, as the Steelers get back to work, what are some of the things that I'd really like to be seeing, or what are some of the things I see as potentially being important? The first thing that comes to mind to me for this group coming in is chemistry on offense is going to be big for the Steelers in this offseason. And you hope that they work hard, both just the rookies, and then when we get into regular mini camp, that there's a lot of work done on that offensive chemistry, because that's where where we're having the most turnover, or still have a lot of young guys. Okay. Then, defensively, sure, there's stuff they're going to have to work on and work out there, but to me, the defense looks close enough to what it looked like last year that they shouldn't have as much work to do to make sure it happens. Of course, on the offense, we're talking it needs to happen. Why? Well, number one, your field general retired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
2, we brought in some new guys on the offensive line. 3, we lost some wide receivers to free agency, have new guys coming in. So, there's just some things I want to see in this, right now in this early off season. Is just about, the biggest thing is chemistry and making sure that that's getting built.
Yes. Now, remember, the Steelers added 2 starters to their roster after minicamp last year, one on each side of the ball, one in Trey Turner, one in Joe Schobert.
Yep.
Don't know if that's going to be what happens, but at the same time, you never know how these things are going to go. So you got to remember, even though there is that 90-man roster, there could always still be some fluctuation to it. That's part of the reason why you want to make sure you get that other GM in there. Right. I mean, obviously, if the Steelers need to make a move, Kevin Colbert's still there. He is the GM until there is another one. So, and that's just what he's going to do. So, Rich, if there's nothing else you want to do or say about it, now that we finally made it on Facebook, I was thinking about something that we used to try to do this every single show when we didn't seem like we had enough time. But we could take a good at least 10 minutes right now if people have a question that they want to fire into the live chat that we could bring up for the show. I mean, I know we have a whole show that we do that's the Sunday night Q&A.
Yep.
But sometimes it's nice to do this a little bit here.
Let's see if we can get folks out there to try to focus this on around kind of the topic for the night.
Around the
Questions
topic.
you have about, the Steelers and getting back to work and going into, both rookie and regular mini camp and those types of things.
Yeah.
So, put it out there. Throw questions.
Yep. So if you all have a question about that,
if not, Dave will sing.
I will sing. As long as they don't have to sing happy birthday to you again.
Hey, there you go. They'll win it. Says, what do you think the chances are we pick up Bradbury? I don't know if the chances are necessarily good on that or not. The Steelers, I would guess, they'll do their homework and figure out, does this work or not?
Yeah.
So
it's not like they don't have any kind of salary space. And yeah, I saw that Deal With It just happened to get it typed in first. Wes is like, oh man, they asked first.
Oh, yeah. we got to get the next one because it's got Jefferson Bartholomew Hartman's favorite word in it.
Yes, I know. We'll get there, but I didn't get to answer this one yet.
I don't care.
I think there's, I used to think, oh no, there's a name out there. The Steelers are going to be gone. You even said it Sunday night about Joe Hayden. Didn't you? Yeah. You didn't think the Steelers are going to get Joe Hayden. And my thing is, the Steelers are going to figure out if it's the right fit. I don't know for sure that it's an upgrade. And some people are like, what are you? I'm not sure, but I don't have to be sure. I want the Steelers to be sure. Yep. If they are sure, make the move. And if you're not, I get it. So that's why I'm really okay with this one either way.
Yeah, let me put it this way. If they do pick him up, I'll be pretty excited.
Yeah, because then they'll see that there was something else
him and he wanted to come to us.
Yes.
So,
and if not, then I'm just like, you know what? Then he wasn't going to add enough to be worth it. So, I guess we'll get the next one with Shrek Johnny's friend. I know. Isn't that the one that Bad said he'd like to know the story behind that one? Yeah. But the question there is, which draft pick has the most, Jefferson's favorite P word, potential? Which draft pick do you think has the most potential?
All of them.
Well, yeah. They all have potential. But which one do you think has the most potential? I think it's an easy answer.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Then go for it.
The easy answer is Kenny Pickett. And the reason there's the most potential is because quarterbacks have a much longer shelf life within the NFL than any other position outside of kickers and long snappers. So if you want to talk about the potential to do them, the Steelers just had a quarterback for 18 years. I'm not saying that Kenny Pickett has to be the quarterback for 18 years, but if you're telling me that he can even be just over half that, that's a lot of potential. So to me, that's the most potential long term. Yep. To me, if you want to talk about the most potential this year, I'm going to go with Calvin Austin III.
And I would do the same.
Because I think he's different enough. No, just because of I think there's potential there because he could be utilized differently than what we expect. Yeah. Yep. Is that good for you?
Yes, very good.
Okay.
Good
so did you find another one in there? Because mine just skipped. So
here was kind of the next one.
Yep. I was just about ready to click on that.
And you know who that is, right?
That's the artist formerly known as BMK, who was formerly known as Solarverse. Who can't make up his mind on his name on here, but that's okay. Yep. He'll probably text me later and say, so he said, State of the Steelers says, what do y'all think the quarterback rotation will be in training camp?
Just theory off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Trubisky, Pickett, Rudolph, and whatever the dude's name is. The other guy
Oladokin.
Yes, there. Thank you.
Yeah.
I always want to call him Okie Dokie.
Yeah, and I keep saying it right because I keep saying Oladokun because it's UN, but it's un. So it's the short U.
I'm going to call him Okie Dokie from.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But great interview. If you didn't hear that on the audio side, great interview with Andrew Wilbar and Jeremy Betts. Really enjoyed that one. I'm going to say I'm going to throw that out there. Do you forget who this is? We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. How do they do things? Who's going to take the first snap in training camp?
Yeah, it's not going to be a rookie.
It's going to be Mason Rudolph because he was with the team last year.
You're right.
That's who's going to take the first snap.
You're right.
Yeah, it's going to go Rudolph, Trubisky, Pickett, Oladokun.
Okie dokie.
You know, now I'm not saying it's going to stay that way, but when you go in day one, that's just the way the Steelers operate, my opinion.
You're right.
Now, could they surprise us? Sure. You know, I mean, last year it was really surprising that Kendrick Green was in there right away. And you see now that it might not have been, you know, like I've said it so many times, I wanted him to grab a hold of that position, not just get it by default. And it didn't work out. So guess what? If he's going to be the center this year, he's got to grab it, or else he's going to be standing on the sidelines and the story. So that would be even better. So that's just what I think the rotation would be. You got another one, or am I still looking?
No, go ahead. You're fine. That's by the way.
Here's one.
I had to tell you were right. You know, that hurts even more than having to tell my wife she's right.
I know. You can't stand it. Here we go. We get to bring one in from Facebook since they missed the first half of the show. Got to make sure we got him here. Marcus L. Gordon says, why is so intent that we need another cornerback? I think the top three we have are serviceable. You know what? I've had that argument many a time with one Andrew Wilbar when it came to the draft, that it was like, if the Steelers are going to have another cornerback, and this is how I agree with you wholeheartedly, but why I answered the question the way I did, and tell me if this is good, Rich, because I got this ready. The three that they have, I believe, are serviceable. I believe they have three number two cornerbacks, the way you want to look at it, if people really want to label them like that. My thing is, do they need another one? No. But if you can upgrade, why wouldn't you?
That's right.
That's my philosophy in the draft with corner.
If they go out and get Bradbury, if they were to go out and get Bradbury, I would feel it's because they feel, being the Steelers organization, that he is an upgrade.
Yeah.
Which I would be excited about that. So
I wholeheartedly agree. And that's how I feel, because they're like, why didn't they take a corner on day three? I'm like, why waste taking a corner on day three? To me, because that's someone who, I mean, the Steelers don't have their day three people playing right away unless you're a punter, you know? I mean, they had Trey Norwood, which was really a big deal, but I'm just historically, they haven't under Mike Tomlin. Last year was the exception. And I'm really glad for those rookies, but they don't want to have to do that. And my thing is, if you're taking a corner on day three, they're going to fight to get on the field. Bottom line. I mean, my goodness, just Lustin Jane was a day two corner and he still can't get on the field.
Right.
So here's a good question. Another Facebook one from Brian Blackstock says, who do we think is RB2?
Franco Harris.
For RB2 for 2022. So who's your number two? Who's your number two running back?
Going into camp right now, you know, if I were to go off of what you were saying
with
the same way, if we're going in with the roster we have right now, the number two running back is Benny Snell. That's true. When you go out the first day of training camp, who lines up with the ones? Najee Harris. Who lines up with the twos? Benny Snell Jr. Yep.
In my opinion. But I will say that they talk about it being, it's funny because I'm trying to go back and pull different transcripts that I don't know that Mike Tomlin said that. Did he say the words open competition when it came to quarterback, or did he say he will have every opportunity? So I know in his initial interview he said he will have every opportunity. I don't know. Maybe he did use the words open competition and I missed it. But this, to me, I think RB2 is the most open competition there might be on this roster. I mean, to me, it's even more open than quarterback because there's. I mean, is it really everyone else? All four of them are going to be even. To me, any other running back they have on the roster that can step up and show that they can be RB2, it could be it. And I will answer the question also this way. Their number two running back for the Steelers for 2022 may not even be on the roster right now.
That would not surprise me either.
Yeah. You know, or you know, there's some nice undrafted free agents that the Steelers got too. It could really be any of them. That's a great question because We're trying to answer questions that there's no way we can answer until they actually get out there and play. All we can do is speculate and speculate and recollate, right?
Yep.
So BF Bet wants to know if there's any chance Hayden is in camp this year.
Jeff and I hit on this on Sunday night for just a minute, and we could absolutely see something go down in a way where Joe Hayden does end up back in Steelers.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that I would guarantee it.
I don't know that
I would bet one way or the other.
Right, but I won't write that. I won't write that one off.
Yeah, I'm not writing that one off.
Nope.
I mean, the whole Bradbury thing would change that a lot, but I mean, it really there's a possibility. But at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked to find out tomorrow that Joe Hayden signed somewhere else. Wouldn't surprise me. So that's kind of where I am. Rich, I already got my answer to this, but I want to know what you think. From Devin Logan. Who do you think will be the main target at wide receiver this season?
Oh, I thought you were going to answer it.
I know. I got my answer ready, so you're not going to influence me. I want to know what you're going to say. Because mine's a Dave answer.
I think it should be it becomes pretty obvious to me. Probably the same guy was the main target last year, Deontay Johnson.
They kept but I have some numbers to back it up.
Okay, go for it.
My answer is it depends on who's the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Because different quarterbacks have different relationships with different receivers and different things that they do. Think about it. Just because there was the big Deontay Johnson, Ben Roethlisberger, where he was always looking for him, that person might not even be a wide receiver. Could even be someone like Pat Freiermuth, is the main guy that and that's what's going to be different with all these quarterbacks is they're going to have different levels of trust with different players. And it's just one of those crazy things that you're going to see. So I think that really will evolve throughout the season. And that's why you could maybe see someone like a Kenny Pickett having more of a connection with a George Pickens because they're going to be throwing with each other this weekend. So you just never know because it really does depend on the quarterback that gets it. Let's hit one more before we hit our big question.
Hold on. You can get to one more in a second, but I'm going to bring one up real quick from a little further down just because of something you had just said. Okay. Awesome stuff. 1983 wants to know when we're going to start calling him Ken Shane Pickett.
Jefferson Bartholomew Hartman says, I mean, Brian already did that on one of his shows. Okay. Jeff says they got to earn it.
That's true.
Jeff says they've got to earn the right to be called by their middle name.
Right. And we haven't even seen him. He hasn't even stepped on the field for the Steelers yet. So not yet.
It might not take long.
Right.
But Jeff says you got to earn it. So here's one from, we might do two more if we can get through them quick. Because I have two good ones there might be tons of good ones, but these are just the ones I'm getting to as I go through. Wes says different questions. Do you expect any surprise cuts?
Yes, because there's almost one every year.
Yeah. I think, do you have a position that you think could be the most surprising based on
defensive line?
Yep, I think you could see a surprise cut there just because they might have too many. If there's a return of Stephon Tuitt, when I did my 53-man roster prediction with Jeff last week, I just said I'm not saving a roster spot for Stephon Tuitt until he comes back. Then I'll adjust accordingly. But for now, I don't have him on my roster. That's just me. Also, I think there could be a surprise cut, maybe even at running back. Was another one where I think there could be a surprise one. So, but the other one I want to finish up with another Facebook one with Todd Faraday. Fairy? What? It's not,
what? Huh?
Can you say that fair? That's a lot of vowels and silent consonants in a row. Feighthery.
Say,
isn't that? I would say fairy.
No, Fig Harry.
Figgery. Maybe it's figgery. Maybe it's a hard G. Maybe it's jogging. It could be a silent J. Sorry. How do you feel about the Steelers without Big Ben for the first time? What record this season? No, we're not going to worry about record because you know what we're going to do? Record. You're going to hear that Thursday night, the way too early record prediction. Right. After the schedule comes out, we will have our our Steelers preview of the schedule Thursday night. We'll go through game by game. That's what we do every year. I mean, last year was the one year they had it on a Wednesday, so we had to switch and do it a different night. But usually it's on Thursdays. So not worried about the record, but the first part of that question, what do you think about what do you kind of expect with it not being, or with the first year without Big Ben? Not even from a record standpoint, but just kind of let's just say a feeling of the team.
We're going to see some, I don't know. I'm going to call them growing pains. And the reason I'm calling them growing pains is because it's the offense trying to, again, it's like the car's being driven by somebody who hasn't driven the car. Yeah, we've had the same driver for 18 years. Now suddenly we're handing the wheel to somebody else. There's going to be they're going to drive differently.
I got a better example for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Your school bus driver growing up. You got the same school bus driver year after year. You knew what time they were showing up and when you were stepping on and everything else. And then next thing you know, one day you've got a different school bus driver. You don't really know what to expect. Can you set your clock by when they show up? Or do you have a range, not sure when they're going to be there?
Dave, and that means a lot to us because, Delmer Yoder, rest his soul.
Yep.
You could set your watch by that man as a bus driver.
Yep. I knew you would appreciate that example. Then they changed our bus route and I had a different bus driver. Didn't know what to expect that first day.
And but not even just the first day. And when we had the different route, it was okay.
Yeah.
But it was not pinpoint precision.
Yeah. I had to get used to it.
You could get our Delmer Yoder, you could get him down to like 15 seconds. Yeah. It was this time, give or take 15 seconds. So basically a 30-second window. You knew the bus would be there.
Yeah. Absolutely. And if it wasn't, you knew there was a big problem. Then there were cows in the road or something. See, based on where we grew up, that was something you'd have to worry about. Things of that nature. But yeah, with Big Ben, my biggest thing with that I think Steelers fans are going to miss a lot. And they're like, is the quarterback play going to be better or worse? I expect the Steelers to be able to do more on offense in the passing game, that things that just Ben Roethlisberger couldn't do anymore or just weren't his strengths. Some of the things, a lot of the Matt Canada things, we're going to see how it works. To me, the biggest thing that Steelers Nation is going to miss from Ben Roethlisberger, and we don't know if we'll get it or not, and this is why you're kind of excited about Kenny Pickett, is what you don't know if what you have in Mitch Trubisky, and that is, there's a minute and a half left and the team just scored. Okay, you're down 3. Okay, you need a field goal to tie, touchdown to win. You hand that over to Ben Roethlisberger. Did you not have confidence that was going to happen?
Yeah, you always had confidence that Ben could get it done.
I mean, you could call it clutch if that's what you want to call.
You would
call it the it factor. You could call it a bunch of different things.
We're going to miss Ben Roethlisberger's big old brain.
Yeah,
his big old football brain that did so many good things over the years.
When
that doesn't mean that none of these guys don't have a big old. Doesn't mean any of these guys don't have a big old football brain. They just have to show us.
And I mean, from what I recall, because I don't follow college football a lot, one Kenneth Shane Pickett seemed to do those things, huh? Did I get it wrong? I don't even remember what the middle name was. Was it Shane?
He hasn't earned that.
I know he hasn't. No, he earned it in college. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about college. When he was in college, he was a player that could do that. Last year, that was a big thing with the Pitt Panthers, is that when it came down to it, you felt like they could get the job done in that respect at the end of the game. Now it's in the big boy leagues. Now it's in the NFL. So do I think there's that a wonderful P word, potential that he could be a guy that could do that? Absolutely. But we haven't seen it yet. That's what some people are worried about when it comes to Mitch Trubisky from his time in Chicago. He never really stepped up in the big moments. That's what it's all about. It's when the stage gets bigger, when the moments are there for you to shine, how do you come through? Ben Roethlisberger made that happen so many times. so many times. So I just think that's great. Rich, do we have a final question tonight? I'm trying to.
I didn't have one ready.
That's one thing that I got so flustered with this Facebook thing to start the show. In case you all didn't realize, I could go back and edit out the beginning of the show. I'm going to leave it because it was funny. I couldn't even remember what show I was. I'm getting errors flashing at me on my computer. I'm live on YouTube, and Facebook is just hanging there. But you know what? Getting into the questions, I felt really helped us to come back and hopefully everyone had a good show here with us tonight. So
we'll get back to work next week.
Yeah,
with the big question at the finale.
Yeah,
we just took regular questions.
Yeah, we took regular questions tonight. So I don't know. I'm kind of. I don't know that we can break the tradition. I almost feel like we should at least be coming through with something. So was there a good question that we were asked earlier that maybe we should ask?
Hold on.
I got it. We answer. Okay. Let's pick our favorite question from before that I think we could answer quickly, with a single answer. So I'm going to do it, and that was the question: who do you think is going to be RB2 this year? Okay. Who do you think is going to be RB2 this year? So that was a good question that we answered as we went. So I'm going to ask it, and boom. We already answered ours, so I've already got it in the live chat out there. So we're ready for it. People are like, "Wait, I didn't have a chance to type it yet." Well, we're going because we don't have much time left.
There we come.
Okay. I don't know when people were actually answered because I don't know. Okay.
Here. Here's the person.
That's Mateo. I keep thinking of Mateo. I actually am doing something, doing an article for him tomorrow. Mateo Durant, the Steel Dog 88. Johnny Bravo says Benny Snell. They skipped on me. Brian Brown. People have been taking attendance, and they're saying that they were seeing on the touchdown under. They don't know if Brian Brown's missed a show in a really long time. So he says Mateo Durant. Michael O'Malley says dude from Duke. That's Mateo Durant. Okay, George Teston says Durant. Deal with it. Confirmed that. Yep, it was Mateo. Thanks, me, Joseph. Leal. If you wanted to throw something outside the box, I thought he might say Connor Hayward. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. So some people thought I might have said Shrek Johnny's friend says Benny Snell.
Which, Dennis way, just so you should know what that is that Shrek. That's Johnny Bravo's friend.
Yes, yeah, that's what it is. Dennis C says Hayward. I said that if you want to think a little bit outside of the box. Steeler Chick 46 says Mateo. Richard Adamson says Durant. State of the Steelers says Durant. Here's what's crazy. It starts to sound like the fans are really getting behind this guy. That makes me worry because how many times does that happen? And then the player gets cut like partway through camp or something like that. Remember, last year it was Shakur Brown. Remember, that was the cornerback. Oh, yeah. The Steelers might draft him. Then they got him as undrafted. He didn't even make the practice squad. You know, I think he's playing in the USFL. Maybe I'm not even sure. But Kevin Osborne says the kid from Duke. Bart Mackey says the guy from Oklahoma State University. Can't remember his name right now. Wait, I've got it here. You got to give me a second. Jalen Warren. There it is. Jalen Warren. That's that name. Jerry Cherry Band says Pickett will have the second most rushing yards. I didn't ask you to have the second most rushing yards. It's who's the next man up at running back. So yeah. We skipped. So we'll go. Tyler W says Snell. BF Bud says McFarland. Travis Wright says Snell. Reginald River says a running back from Kansas City or Chicago. In other words, they have too many. One will get cut, and the Steelers will pick him up. That's actually a pretty good answer, you know.
Not a terrible
answer. That's not a terrible answer. Wes Hickok says Durant. Brian Blackstock says, whoops, misheard. He said second quarterback. So now he says McFarland. Here we go. Sherry Richards says McFarland.
Sherry, you got a shout out early in the show
yes,
when we weren't all messed up.
When we had it messed up and not on Facebook. Here we go. Because Sherry also says, Miles Jack played running back UCLA. So awesome stuff. 1983 says Najee. He'll be RB1, 2, and 3. He probably will when you look at
not
the
a
stats.
horrible answer
Okay.
when you stop and think about it.
Yeah. So that is kind of funny there. But yeah, that was fun to we had to do a question. We had to.
Yeah, we have to.
It was nice to get one from you all. So yeah, the Steelers, they're really kicking it in gear. The draft's over. Time to get to work. I'm excited to know, even if I don't get any news out of rookie minicamp, just knowing that they're out there doing stuff together as a team kind of, warms my heart.
I mean, who we drafted, they're in the building.
Yeah.
Would work. Yeah.
We know their numbers now.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's all coming together. Time to get to work, and we'll be like, oh, work, and then we'll have 6 weeks of nothing before training camp. But that's how it goes. So hey, but during all this time, remember, I already teased the preview for Thursday night will be the schedule release show. But make sure you're checking out all the YouTube and Facebook Live shows. They should now all be on Facebook Live. That was I think I got the glitch figured out there. With the same lineup, nothing on Saturdays, but we've got 2 on Fridays and 2 on Sundays to help get you through. Of course, we've got the audio only. We've got your Let's Ride Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The other morning shows of mine and Jeffrey on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The noon lineup. We've just got so many different voices. We're trying not to all say the same thing. We're trying to make every show different, so there's still something for everyone and a reason to tune in. And we understand you're going to have favorite shows, and you're going to have shows that you're like, yeah, I've got that topic from someone else. We just want this to be a place to where if you want to get some good Steelers talk, you'll be able to find something with us. And of course, there's continued breakdown on these draft picks and everything else, the undrafted free agents, film rooms, all kinds of great and crazy stuff at BehindTheSteelCurtain.com, your one-stop shop for all things Pittsburgh Steelers. Rich, what do you want to say tonight to close out the show?
I just want to say, first of all, I'm going to thank all the folks that are here live, both on YouTube and on Facebook. And actually, I also want to thank the folks that are out there picking us up on the audio.
Yeah.
The fact that you'd want to spend your time listening to 2 geeky, ugly dudes talking Steeler football.
That's why I want to do the audio. I want to have to look at us.
Listen to the brothers, bicker over stuff. That means a lot to us. That you take your time and, I don't know, maybe you listen to us because you get a good laugh and think, oh, that's how I am with my siblings.
Yeah.
If so, that's great. Just, everybody is out there putting on great shows. I had a lot of fun doing the show. That was the first show I'd ever done, specifically just Jeff and I the other night. That was fun to do. Thanks for being out there and tuning in. Now we're starting to talk about, OTAs and minicamp. Next thing you know, then we'll be, it seems like forever, but I know we'll be talking training camp before too long. Believe it or not, it'll get here before you know it. Can't wait.